Good morning and welcome to the TMS BookClub. I'm your host Sewela Langeni from Busisekile Capital. We're an independent bookshop that focuses on African literature, and today is my honor to speak to Busisekile Khumalo, an author of 8 books, and some of the well-known books is the Harvard series and Noma Swazi. But today we're talking about your latest book, Sunshine and Shadows. Welcome and thank you, Busi.
Thank you, Sewela.
So, Busi, when I was looking you up, I see that you're a human rights lawyer. And I thought to myself, human rights lawyer that's written so many books. How did this journey of writing come about?
Unemployment. So I graduated 2016,
Okay.
and then that's when I came to South Africa, to Johannesburg actually. I'm from Zimbabwe. Greener pastures, which turned out not so green. I worked for a while at Steers as a cashier.
Yeah.
And I think the frustration of, I've always been the A student, everything went according to plan until after graduation, on a taxi on my way to work. I started, imagining the kind of life I wanted, or the kind of life that I thought I would have. As I was writing, it sort of stopped being about me.
Okay.
And then the story sort of evolved, and that's how Nompumelelo came about. And I sent the first chapter to my friend, Z, who's a lawyer, and she says, you sound like you've been doing this your whole life. What happens? What happens next? Do they go on holiday? What happens?
Yeah.
And then I kept writing until it was a full manuscript.
Wow.
So
and here we are, 8 books later.
9, actually.
9
this
with
is
this
the 9th one.
Yes, 9 with this one. So, the latest book, Sunshine and Shadows, this title is like a paradox, like a contradiction.
Yeah.
Speak to us about this.
Sunshine and Shadows is actually taken from what Harare is called the Sunshine City.
Oh, yes.
Right? It's called the Sunshine City. So whenever people look at Zimbabwe, it's either they look at one side, either you look at the poverty, the politics, or whatever. But I feel like there's 2 sides to Zimbabwe. There's the dark side, the shadows, and then there's the sunshine, the glitz and the glamour. When you look at those who are benefiting from the system. So this book sort of then takes on that. When Vimbai, who's the protagonist,
the main character,
yes. So all those girls, they're in college, so they're looking at starting their jobs after college. So there's a certain lifestyle that they look up to or that they see around them, and Vimbai wants that. She's like, I'm going to do anything
by hook or crook.
I am, because she knows where she's coming from. She was an orphan, so she doesn't want to go back to that.
So, these main characters, which is a trend with your writing. So, Vumbai, Nosihle, and Ruby are the key characters in the book, and the chapters are actually named by them where we read each story. And I see that it's a trend with you where you always have the strong female leads in your work. Why is that?
I want female characters that when I read, I can relate to. But also that when my daughter reads, she will look up to. They are feminine, they are soft.
They want a soft life.
Yes, they can be materialistic. I feel like for the longest time, I was reading all those books, but I couldn't see myself in the books, I couldn't see my struggles, I couldn't see my triumphs, So whenever I read African stories, it tend to be these very submissive women, struggling women, and those are not the women I grew up seeing.
Surrounded by.
Yes, my mother was a nurse, my aunts, they were all working, they were
had their own agency.
Yes, so I wanted that.
So in the Sunshine and Shadows, we see themes around identity, we see themes around independence, we see themes around migration. What are some of the themes you wanted to actually showcase in the story?
Usually I just write. I never really think of themes, but then I also do want to actively, writing is activism, whether passive or not, but it is activism. And Sunyati recently said this was my boldest work yet, because growing up in Zimbabwe, where you were told to see but don't mention, you can't comment on whatever it is you're seeing. So when you read Sunshine and Shadows, and if you are following the Zimbabwean politics, you'll find that there is a commentary there. you know. So I did want that commentary to come out, you know, and also look at the rights of women specifically, you know. When you focus on Nosihle and her backdoor abortion, you know, we still have women dying from trying to terminate pregnancies. It really is something that shouldn't be happening, you know. When you look at Ruby and her sexuality, homosexuality is illegal in Zimbabwe, you know. So there's so many humanitarian matters that arise in the book, but you know, I kept it light, I kept it.
Yeah. So you've always published your work self-published. You've always done it self-published, and this is your first through an establishment, Kwela Publishing. How has that been so far?
It has been quite a transition, but I've been fortunate enough that maybe because I already have an established voice, so they respect my voice, you know? So you have a sway a bit, rather than when you're just starting out.
First book and you can't tell them these insights.
Because I know. So it has been interesting having someone to bounce around ideas with and not having to pay for everything.
Absolutely.
That's nice.
So readers that who follow you very closely and are excited about Sunshine and Shadows, what can they expect?
They can expect a lot of drama, attention, and of course it wouldn't be me without some mental health awareness. We look at schizophrenia, and also there's going to be a sequel, Rubies and Rain. So this is supposed to be a 3-part series. So Sunshine and Shadows, then followed closely by Rubies and Rain.
And I mean, when are you writing all of these things, Busi?
Usually I wake up anytime from midnight to 2 a.m. and I only fall asleep at 6 a.m.
And to someone watching you who've got stories to tell, what advice would you give them?
Don't play at writing, you know. Don't make it a hobby. If you want it to be a hobby, then just stop. I feel like I wouldn't have come as far as I have had I not told myself, because initially when I started writing, I thought I was going to write and it was going to open doors for me, you know, in the legal fraternity and whatever. But then it was with Nomaswazi, my second book actually, when the testimonials from people actually sanctify that, okay, this is my calling now, this is what I'm doing. Then I saw the change.
Started seeing results.
Yes, you know.
So you're saying no half clash. If you're going to do it all the way.
Yes.
You've heard it right here on the TMS Book Club with Busisekile Khumalo, author of 9 books, and the latest is Sunshine and Shadows, available nationwide and here at Book Circle Capital. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Busi.
Thank you for having me.